Most people start their fat loss journey by cutting back, smaller portions, fewer snacks, stricter rules. But if that worked, obesity wouldn't be at an all-time high worldwide. Over the past 20 years in the United States, obesity has doubled in adults and quadrupled in our kids. And then internationally, the US leads the G7 in obesity rates. Almost 43% of our whole country is obese. Meanwhile, Japan is at just 4.5%. So we don't have a gene problem, we have a food problem. And this is why so many people who are actively trying to lose weight stay stuck. There are over 10,000 ingredients approved in the US food supply, many of which are banned in other countries. And these ingredients disrupt your hormones, inflame your body, and make it harder to lose weight. Even the foods marketed as healthy, like bars and shakes and yogurts and snacks, are packed with hidden sugars, loaded with seed oils, and contain chemical sweeteners like sucralose. They aren't just harmless additions, they create toxic environment and havoc inside of your body, which is overloading your most important filter, your liver. Your liver is your body's main filter. And right now, it's overwhelmed. It is the hardest working organ in your body. Over 100 million Americans alone now have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and most don't even know it. It is the fastest growing condition in the world. And when your liver is congested, it shuts down your ability to burn fat, even if you're in a caloric deficit. That's why so many people gain weight even while eating less. Their body simply can't release the fat. And here's what most people miss. Even if you do manage to lose some weight, if you haven't fixed what's going on inside your body, you just put it right back on. And that's why so many people can't lose weight with conventional dieting, because most weight loss plans don't address the internal damage. Calories doesn't repair your metabolism. It doesn't clear your liver or rebalance your hormones. It just tries to manage symptoms instead of addressing the root cause. So to get the weight off and keep it off, you have to fix what's happening inside your body. And that starts with a framework that I call the 3 I's. They're the real reason fat loss gets stuck and the key to finally turning it around. Let's start with the first I, which is insulin. This is the hormone that decides whether your body stores fat or burns fat. Every time you eat, insulin is released, especially when you eat sugar or when you eat carbohydrates. And its job is to take the sugar out of your blood and move it into your cells so it can either be used as energy or stored. Here's the issue. When insulin is high, your body goes into fat storage mode. It holds on to what you eat instead of burning it up. That's why I call insulin the gatekeeper, because when it's stuck on, your fat burning switch is stuck off, and your body can't access the fat that you already have, no matter how little that you eat or how hard you're exercising. So this is the part most diets miss. They focus calories, not hormones. But just cutting calories doesn't guarantee that you lower insulin. And if insulin doesn't come down, fat loss doesn't happen. Now here's the problem. Most people are triggering insulin all day long without even realizing it. We know that we're supposed to stay away from things like candy and soda, but it's not just junk food that's spiking your insulin levels. It's yogurt, it's granola, it's your high protein snack bars. These foods are marketed as healthy, but they're actually hidden insulin bombs, and they flood your body with the fat storage hormone all day long. So even though it looks like you're making better choices, you're eating less, you're snacking smarter, you're switching to sugar-free, your system is still stuck. Over time, this constant overload wears your body down, and your cells stop responding to insulin properly. So your body makes more of it just to get the job done. That's called insulin resistance. And once insulin resistance sets in, your metabolism starts to break down. Your fat loss gets even harder. There's one study that really drives this home. Researchers followed 2 groups on the same calorie-restricted diet for 10 weeks. Those with higher insulin levels lost 4.6 pounds less fat than those with lower insulin levels. Not only that, they also lost more muscle along the way. Same food, same calories, completely different outcome just because how their body handled insulin. So if you've been trying to lose weight without lowering insulin, you've been fighting an uphill battle because you can't burn fat if you keep triggering the very hormone that stores it. And the biggest trigger for insulin, sugar. Plain and simple. So start by cutting the obvious offenders: table sugar, brown sugar, syrups, corn syrup, but then watch out with anything ending in OSE: glucose, fructose, sucrose, dextrose, even lactose. And even in small amounts, any of these can still spike insulin. Now, the only O that would be okay is cellulose, which is actually fiber, and allulose, which we'll talk about in a minute. Next, eliminate the refined carbs, such as white bread, which has been stripped of all of its nutrients, pasta, crackers, cereal, granola, snack bars, even instant oatmeal. These break down into sugar really fast in your body, and they hit your system just as hard. Finally, watch out for artificial sweeteners. Things like sucralose, which I made an entire video on. You can check it out in the description because it is the #1 most dangerous hidden health food ingredient, in my opinion. You can check that video out. Aspartame is another one. ACE-K, which is asulfamine potassium. Now, these might be calorie-free, but they still taste sweet. And that alone can trigger an insulin response in your body. So that's why I tell people, if you do need something sweet, choose the smarter options. Monk fruit, coming from a plant and a fruit, stevia coming from a plant, allulose. These are much more insulin safe. They don't mess with your hormones nearly as much, and they let your fat burning progress keep moving forward without completely eliminating the sweetness. Now, once you wean yourself off of insulin spiking foods, the next step is to stop snacking. Here's why. Every time you eat, even if it's just a handful of something, insulin goes up. And for most people, that constant snacking means insulin never comes down between meals. So that's why I teach my patients, my followers, to space their meals and shorten their eating window. Start with 3 solid meals a day, nice rhythm, good clean foods, no snacking in between. And then when you're ready, try a simple fast, maybe 12 to 16 hours overnight. It gives your body time to reset, and it gives your insulin a chance to drop. And when insulin drops, fat loss can finally begin. Then add in some movement. You don't need hours of cardio or fancy gym equipment. Just move your body every day. Even a 10-minute workout, which is what I regularly teach. I'll link one down below so you can try an example of it. It's enough to improve insulin sensitivity and help your body use glucose more efficiently. The more regularly you move, the more responsive your body becomes to insulin. And then the easier it is to get your blood sugar down and keep it steady, to keep your insulin under control, and to keep fat burning going strong. All right, now that we've tackled the first I of insulin, it's time for the second I. Now, this one's more overlooked than the first one, but it's just as important, and that's inflammation. Inflammation is your body's natural response to damage. It's part of the healing process. If you hit your knee with a hammer, it's going to inflame, and that inflammation is healing that area. But when the damage is constant and you're consistently getting damage from what you eat, what you breathe in, toxicity-wise, how you sleep or lack thereof, how you stress your body mentally, your body stays inflamed all the time. And chronic inflammation is one of the biggest reasons that fat won't budge. Here's how it works. First, inflammation drives insulin resistance. We've already talked about how insulin blocks fat burning. Well, inflammation raises insulin, and insulin raises inflammation. It's this big loop. They feed off of each other. Second, it inflames your fat cells. When those fat cells get swollen or congested, their outer walls stiffen. Nutrients can't get in, and toxins can't get out of the cell. And fat stays locked in place, no matter how clean your diet is. Third, fat itself adds fuel to the pun intended fire, especially the kind that wraps around your organs. Visceral fat. This type of fat acts like an organ of its own. It's releasing inflammatory chemicals into your bloodstream every single day. So the more toxic fat you carry, the more inflamed you become, and the harder it becomes to lose any of it. So this creates a very vicious cycle that people get stuck in. Inflammation leads to fat gain. Fat gain leads to more inflammation. And the longer it continues, the harder it is to break out of. So where does all this inflammation begin? A lot of it starts with your food, which you can identify with 4 simple letters. C-R-A-P. This is the crap that drives inflammation in your body, and you need to get it out of your diet. Let's break it down. The C, processed carbohydrates and sugars, carbs and sugars. We already covered this with insulin, but they also drive inflammation directly in the body. High sugar foods spike blood sugar levels, and that spikes damage to the tissues, feeds fat cells, and stresses your immune system. Fructose, especially from juices and high fructose corn syrup and sodas, also damages your liver directly. Your body can't process fructose like it does glucose. It can only be broken down in your liver. Then when the liver gets overloaded from too much fructose, it turns that excess sugar energy into fat, and your triglycerides go up, fueling inflammation throughout your body. The R is rancid oils. These are the seed oils of canola, soybean, corn, sunflower, vegetable, margarine, anything fried in these foods, from fast food to chips to frozen snacks. The oils are already oxidized, inflamed, or they even hit your plate or your mouth. And then once they're inside your body, they inflame your cells, especially your cell membranes, which are made out of fat. They overload your system with omega-6 fats. Now, we need a few good omega-6s, but over 25% of our diet now is omega-6s. And unlike sugar, they don't burn off quickly. They get stored in your fat cells, in your liver, even in your brain, and they can sit in there for up to 6 years. That's why seed oils are a different kind of problem. They don't just cause inflammation, they prolong inflammation. And while cutting crap and eating anti-inflammatory foods will bring most inflammation down, these oils require more help to get them out. I'll explain in just a moment, but I'll explain more on that in just a moment. But first, let's finish breaking down the crap foods that cause inflammation. Let's go to the artificial ingredients. These include sucralose and aspartame and ACE-K, food dyes like red 40 and yellow 5, monosodium glutamate, MSG, and then the vague labels that maybe just contain a flavoring. Your body doesn't recognize these as food. They're chemicals, and they trigger your immune system, causing low-grade inflammation in your gut, in your brain, in your skin, in your joints. And the worst part, these artificial ingredients show up a lot in so-called health products. It blows my mind how many supplement brands and energy drinks and health products that are marketed to consumers, like protein powders and nutrition bars, contain so much of these unhealthy ingredients, yet they're still touted as health foods. Final letter, the P, processed proteins. These are things like deli meats with preservatives, bacon or sausage with nitrates or nitrites, fast food burgers, frozen meat patties, cheap protein powders full of artificial junk. These are inflammatory because they're made with low quality fats and they're loaded with preservative chemicals, nitrates, artificial flavors, all the things that we've already covered with artificial ingredients. The point being is that a pound of beef can be a lot more toxic than a pound of broccoli because of the concentration of these chemicals and hormones and bad fats. How unhealthy the protein is leads to unhealthy food that's going into your body. So how do we lower inflammation? Well, we start by cutting the crap, and you replace it piece by piece with foods that help your body heal and start to lose weight. Here's how it works. First, instead of refined carbs and sugars, eat clean carbs with fiber. Those things include sweet potatoes, rich in fiber, beta carotene, support stable blood sugar levels, berries, low glycemic, high in antioxidants, high in fiber, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, non-starchy vegetables. They're lower in carbohydrates. They're high in fiber. They're rich in antioxidants, phytonutrients. They're alkalizing. They help balance pH, and they help reduce internal inflammation. I'm talking broccoli and cauliflower and cucumbers and green beans, nuts and seeds. They're rich in healthy fats, also healthy in fiber and minerals. They support blood sugar control. They reduce inflammation. They help you stay full longer. Chia seeds, my favorite. Flax seeds, almonds, walnuts. Next are legumes, beans. Very nutrient dense. They break down slowly in the body. They act as a prebiotic for your gut. I would opt for more organic or ones that are soaked or sprouted, and they help to reduce inflammation in the body. Chickpeas, black beans are my favorite. They're loaded with magnesium. Lentils, peas, or pastas or dishes that are made out of these ingredients. So replace those carbohydrates, focus on fiber. Next, instead of rancid oils, consume healthy oils and fats. Avocado oil, great for cooking at high temperatures. Olive oil, extra virgin, cold pressed. It's best with dressings and maybe real low heat. Coconut oil supports metabolism, supports the gut health. Grass-fed butter, ghee, clarified butter. It's lactose-free. It's rich in healthy fats and vitamins. Beef tallow. Frozen grass-fed sources are the best. It's really good for high heat cooking as well as lard. If you get it from pasture-raised pork, natural, very stable for cooking. And when it comes to artificial ingredients, get rid of everything fake. Replace them with clean, natural alternatives that your body can actually process. I already mentioned the sweeteners, monk fruit, stevia, maybe allulose, or even a little raw honey or raw maple syrup. Just in moderation, know that it can spike insulin a little bit. So using one of those alternative monk fruits or stevias may be where you start, but over time you can add those back in. And for flavor, there's a ton of herbs and spices that help support this journey. Garlic, cinnamon, turmeric, basil, ginger. Finally, replace processed protein with clean protein. Grass-fed beef, it's higher in omega-3s. It's free from hormones and antibiotics. Wild-caught fish, especially salmon, sardines, mackerels, very rich in EPA and DHA, which are super good for the brain, the heart, your fat metabolism. For chicken, go pasture-raised eggs, loaded with healthy fats, choline, really good for your brain and liver, fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, K. Organic pasture-raised, when it comes to poultry, is best because it's going to be free from antibiotics and hormones, more lean and more of a versatile protein source. You could try bone broth, very rich in collagen and glycine and gut healing amino acids. Grass-fed collagen can be used as well, or grass-fed protein powders. Clean protein, it's great into a smoothie. And just make sure there's no artificial sweeteners or no other filters. Just look for no artificial sweeteners added, like sucralose. It's in a lot of them. And make sure there's no other fillers. Tempeh could be an option for many. Fermented plant-based protein, a little bit easier to digest for some. Just make sure it's non-GMO. Raw nuts, raw seeds, these are great plant-based protein ideas, healthy fats, good fiber, health of the blood sugar levels, help you feel more full. And as I said before, lentils and legumes. You can use these to add in more fiber, clean protein. They can disrupt the digestive system a little bit, so ease into them. If you can cut out the crap and eat these anti-inflammatory foods instead, it helps your body shift from sugar burning to fat burning mode. That means your body can finally start to burn away the fat that it's stored. And if you're not sure which mode you're in, here are some telltale signs that you're stuck in sugar burning mode. You crave sugar or carbs regularly. You get tired or irritated, especially after you skip a meal. You crash after eating. You constantly feel hungry. You gain weight really easily and then can't lose belly fat. Those are the signs that your body is dependent on glucose for fuel, keeps your insulin high, keeps your inflammation higher. But when you become a fat burner and everything changes, you burn stored fat more easily, even at rest. Your energy stays much more clean and steady throughout the day. Your cravings go away, you feel more mentally clear, and your body becomes less inflamed, less bloated, more responsive to change. Now, when you burn fat, there's something important you need to keep in mind. Your body doesn't just lose weight, it releases toxins stored in your fat cells. Studies show that during fat loss, blood levels of these toxins can spike by up to 300% and stay elevated for as long as 12 months. So when you lose weight, you release toxicity. And if your liver isn't prepared to handle that toxic wave, it gets overloaded. And when that happens, your body responds the only way it knows how to, by storing those toxins right back into fat. And that's one of the biggest reasons why people regain weight after they try to lose it. Not because they failed, but because their body was trying to protect them. So if you want to burn fat and actually keep it off, you can't just break it down. You have to clear it out. And that starts with supporting your liver. Your liver is your body's most powerful filter. It performs over 500 different functions, and it processes every drop of blood in your body. So when it's congested, fat loss slows down to a crawl. That's why, in addition to cutting the crap and eating these anti-inflammatory focused foods, I recommend simple daily habits to support your liver, like drinking lemon water in the morning. It stimulates bile, it helps flush the liver. Black coffee boosts detox enzymes. Just skip the sugars and be careful on the creams. Make sure it's all natural and real. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, they support your liver's detox pathways. Turmeric, ginger, garlic, they can help calm the inflammatory process and support bile flow. Beets, arugula, dandelion greens, they support blood flow and digestion. Bone broth, collagen, they provide glycine, which helps detox and repair the gut. And if needed, targeted supplements like NAC for glutathione support, which is your detoxer of your body, milk thistle protects liver cells. Berberine helps to reduce liver fat. Digestive enzymes and ox bile help break down fat and ease the liver's workload. Now, these habits help your liver clear toxins instead of recycling them. If you need help with those nutrients, you can look at my liver cleanse below. It has all of those and more in it, and it comes with a food list to help you focus on those foods. Supporting your liver is the pathway to weight loss. And that's how you finally stop the rebound effect and make your fat loss stick. However, even if you do everything that I just explained, there's still a good chance that your body is struggling to lose weight. And that's because of the rancid fats from seed oils that we talked about earlier. These don't just go away when you clean up your diet. Like I said, they can sit in your body for up to 6 years. So even if you're doing everything else, they'll keep inflammation smoldering in the background. But there's good news. There's a 2-step protocol backed by science that can speed this process up a lot. Step 1 is short fasting, just 20 to 24 hours, once or twice a week, where you're abstaining from eating, just having liquids, bone broth, water, lemon water, electrolytes during that period of time. That's enough to switch your body into fat burning mode, and you start pulling that omega-6 linoleic acid out of your fat cells. Step 2 is crucial. EPA is a clean omega-3 fat found in high-quality fish oil that we want those cells to be made out of instead of omega-6s. And when you follow a fast with this omega-3 supplement, it helps rebuild your cells with the right kind of fat while pushing out the toxic ones. So these 2 steps, fasting and then EPA, work together. One releases the bad fat, the other replaces it. And when researchers tested this combo, the results were incredible. They saw a 24% drop in stored linoleic acid in just 13 days. That's the toxic omega-6 fat that normally takes years to leave the system, cleared out by almost a quarter in under 2 weeks. So if you want to learn more about this process, I'll include a link to my video that goes into it in more detail. And if you'd like to use the same EPA supplement that I do on a daily basis, I'll also include a link for that as well. So if you want to lower inflammation, burn toxic fat, and get your body back, this is where you start. Cut the crap, switch to the clean, healing foods, support your liver along the way, and use fasting and EPA to flush out the toxic fats that would have otherwise blocked your fat loss for years. Okay, now you've addressed insulin. You've brought down inflammation, but there is one more piece to the puzzle, and this is the most important part. It's the third I, and it's this. I am the solution. This is the only one that decides whether your fat loss efforts actually last. Because if your mindset doesn't shift, nothing else sticks. Not the food, not the fasting, not the supplements. That might sound intense, but let me show you why it's true. We live in a world that's designed to keep you overweight. Processed food is everywhere. Fake health products are marketed like medicine. You're stressed, you're busy, and you were never taught how to live healthy in this world. And that's not your fault. So it's your responsibility to take these steps and make real fat loss possible. And the solution isn't some new diet or another weight loss plan. It's committing to changes in the way that you live, committing to changes in the problem that you created. It's embracing a new lifestyle, which is very different. So what does building a new lifestyle actually look like? It looks like you being the solution to that problem. It looks like starting your day with some lemon water and some protein, moving your body to start your day because you're just a person that moves their body early in the morning. It looks like reading ingredient labels without even thinking about it, just to check, is there anything in there that I'm concerned about? You start to understand what's actually on the label. It looks like having 2 or 3 fallback meals that you can make anytime so you never compromise and cave into a bad habit. So decision fatigue doesn't knock you off track. It looks like that 10-minute workout in your living room because it's just part of your routine. These aren't diet hacks. They're not programs. Program is a swear word around Dr. Living Good. They're habits. And once they're in place, you don't need discipline to do the right thing. You just do it, like brushing your teeth. Hopefully you do that twice a day. The reason why you need to approach fat loss as a lifestyle shift instead of just another diet plan is because over the long run, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits. So if it doesn't become part of how you live, a routine you can follow without thinking, you eventually slip back into your old patterns. That's why I never ask people for perfection, because perfection isn't how real life works. Perfection collapses the moment something goes wrong, and it always does. Instead, I ask, ask for progress, because progress is how habits are built, and habits are what define your lifestyle. You don't create a new lifestyle by changing everything at once. You create it by making one better choice today than you did yesterday. And you repeat that 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%, 1%. And that one small win becomes a pattern. And that pattern becomes your new normal. And that's how fat comes off and stays off. And here's the best part. You're not going to do it perfectly. You're going to fall off. You're going to miss days. You're going to eat things you shouldn't. But the difference is this time you won't spiral. You won't start over Monday. You'll just return to your new normal pattern. You'll just respond, because you're not on a plan or a program anymore. You're building a new way of life. Remember, it's not about what you do. It's about what you come back to. It's about responding. So stop waiting to feel ready. Stop thinking you need a new plan or something new and flashy or motivation or someone to hold your hand. You don't need more information. You need knowledge, which is the application of information. You need follow through, and follow through starts with action. Right now in this moment, this can be your wake-up call. This is where the change really happens. Not with a product, not with a prescription, not with a plan, with a decision to start, to stay with it, and to build the kind of lifestyle that pulls the fat off, keeps it off, and makes you feel like yourself again. I am the solution. Congratulations. You've made it through the 3 I's. If you need a breakdown and a recap and a really digging into those, grab one of my free books below. It literally explains and breaks down what those steps are in a really nice, easy to follow format. And now you know what's really been blocking fat loss all along. But this isn't where the real shift happens, because it's one thing to understand the problem. It's another thing to start living the solution. So what should that look like day to day? What habits actually move the needle quickly? That's exactly what I'll show you in the next video. I'm walking you through the step-by-step routine that I'd follow if I had to lose 30 pounds fast, and not just lose it, but keep it off for good. These are the same habits that I've helped hundreds of thousands inside of my challenges each month. And the video's already been watched by over 1 million people on their own fat loss journey. So click here to watch it now. It'll give you the structure, the rhythm, and the confidence to start strong today. I'll see you there.